let's just talk about sex for a minute, because baby is there and enjoy it. And whenever I start to feel it, I just try to let it go and I say a quick prayer and take my mind off of it by doing something else. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Julia, and if you can tell by the title of this video, we are doing another pregnancy update. I'm currently 14 weeks and 5 days, I think. I'm going to be 15 weeks on Tuesday, and today is Saturday when I'm filming this. So I turn a week every Tuesday. We have quite a bit to catch up on though. I am falling behind early on in the pregnancy update video series that I had every intention of doing this. I don't know what happened. Life? I don't know. But we have a month to catch up on, which is fine because there really isn't a lot that happened. Nothing major. It's been a very normal pregnancy so far, but we are going to go ahead and get into it. If this is the first video that you're watching of mine that is a pregnancy update, what I do is I like to go into the app that I am using that I love for this pregnancy. I use the same one with Eleanor. It's the Baby Center app. Talk about what is going on with baby this week, any major milestones, if there are any, what is going on with mom this week, and do a comparison of how I have been feeling, and kind of talk about that a little bit more. If you hear talking going on out there, Josh is entertaining Eleanor, and it's later on in the day. It's almost dinner time. She's getting to that point where she's starting to get tired. It's a few hours before her bedtime, so she needs to be entertained right now. All right, last update that I did, it was for the 9 and 10 weeks, so let's go into week 11. This week, the baby is the size of a fig. If it wants to load. All right, week 11, baby is the size of a fig. The length about 1.5 inches, and the weight is 1/4 ounce. What's going on with the baby? Oh, this is what the baby looks like. Itty bitty little baby. Your baby is no longer called an embryo. This week is the beginning of the fetal period. All vital organs should be in place, and many have already started to function. By the end of this week, your baby's external genitals will start developing. In a few weeks, you'll be able to see on an ultrasound whether you're having a boy or a girl, and that's typically at the 20-week ultrasound scan or the anatomy scan, depending on what your doctor calls it. I know that they can find out earlier. My friend found out way earlier. I think she might have found out when they did the genetic testing and they had their blood drawn to find out the gender of their baby. But we're not going to do that. We're not going to find out. We like not knowing. And what is going on with mama this week? Let's see. Constipation, yes. And I briefly touched on this last week for week 10 because it can start around that time period. And then if you do experience it, it's typically by week 11. So it's pretty common during this, constipation is common during pregnancy due partly to hormonal changes, which can slow digestion. So a common thing to help with this, to help remedy, is just continuing to drink a ton of water throughout the day and to stay active and to keep things moving. Try your very best to stay active. I think a big reason why this pregnancy compared to my first one is so different is because I am chasing a toddler. I'm constantly on my feet. I'm constantly moving. Whereas with Eleanor, when I came home from work, I would just lay on the couch and just zone out. I really didn't stay active like I should have been. And I think that's why it's night and day difference. But during 11 weeks, during the 11th week, I didn't have any constipation, so I didn't have any of that. Again, completely normal. Excuse me. Heartburn. You may begin to feel heartburn, also known as acid indigestion, a burning sensation that often extends from the bottom of your breastbone to your lower throat. I definitely had heartburn with Eleanor, but it was later on in the second trimester, all the way up to the third trimester, and actually all the way up until I had her. I was having heartburn in labor, and I remember as soon as I had her, I had the feeling like I was gonna have heartburn, but it never came. So it was a huge relief not to experience that, which for this pregnancy, I haven't experienced any heartburn yet, but that's because I don't think the baby is big enough to be pushing on all of my organs. So I'm expecting it to happen earlier in this pregnancy, simply because when you have subsequent pregnancies, especially so close together, your body knows exactly what to do. It already knows what to do, but it literally just did this. So your uterus is already stretched out, so it doesn't take as long for you to show, which definitely happened to me. It didn't take long for me to show at all, but haven't had heartburn yet. And that is it for mom that week. And again, I didn't have any symptoms that I was pregnant other than I I don't have pregnancy insomnia, but it takes me longer to fall asleep and to stay asleep. Um, and I think it's because I am drinking so much water throughout the day that I'm constantly waking up at night, at least twice to go pee, and it's right around the same time. I typically go to bed anywhere between 8:30 and 9:30. That's the window that I like to shoot for. And I will wake up around 1ish, and then I'll wake up probably around 4:30. Sometimes it is literally right at 4:59 and my alarm goes off at 5, and that's when I'll have to wake up to pee. But those are the only symptoms that I started to experience. Let's go to week 12. I don't want this video to be super long, but I have 4 weeks to catch up on, you guys. Week 12. The baby is the size of a lime. The length is 2¼ inches and the weight is roughly ½ ounce. And again, every baby is going to be different. It has a lot to do with genetics. We have big babies. I was a big baby. My husband was a big baby. So I think our baby weighs a little bit more and is a little longer than what they say in the app. Who really knows? This is what the baby looks like at week 12. So your baby's fingers will soon begin to open and close. His toes will curl, his eye muscles will clench, and his mouth will make sucking movements to imitate suckling at the breast or a bottle if you choose to bottle feed. Your baby has 10 fingers and 10 toes, and there's no more webbing in between them. And peach fuzz hair begins to grow on the little skin. His intestines or her intestines, which have grown so fast that they can protrude into the umbilical cord, move back into the abdominal cavity. And the reason why they protrude into the umbilical cord is because baby grows so quickly and their little belly, it's only so big, so it has to go into the umbilical cord. That is it for baby. And let's see, mama. So your grown uterus has grown to the extent that your healthcare provider can now feel the top of the uterus, which is now, it's called the fundus, which I didn't know about until I had Eleanor, that it's called the fundus. So it can feel the top of the fundus low in your abdomen above your pubic bone, which if you feel your uterus on your own stomach, you can feel that there's a slight difference between your uterus and what it feels like in the rest of your abdominal area. So don't be surprised if you and your partner are feeling stressed out these days. Many pregnant couples worry about their baby's health. Completely normal. For this pregnancy, I have been not as anxious, but I've been a little more worrisome. And whenever I start to feel that, I just try to let it go and I say a quick prayer and take my mind off of it by doing something else. And I think a big part of it is because you can't really feel the baby move at this point, and you have a slight little bump, but not really. A lot of women, it looks like they just ate a little bit too much. At least for me, that's what it was looking like. So until you can really feel the baby move in your belly and know, all right, my baby's moving, my baby's healthy, everything's okay, it can be a little stressful. And that is it for mama. Not much going on with mom, no new symptoms, and that was me at week 12. Again, nothing going on other than the continuing waking up to pee at night, peeing a lot throughout the day, staying well hydrated. There were no food aversions. I was eating regular food, and I did notice that my appetite was slowly picking back up as I got closer to the second trimester. First trimester, I would eat, but I wasn't eating a lot like I typically do in the second and in the third trimester. That's just for me when I'm pregnant, and that's how my body is. Let's jump to week 13. So this week, the baby is the size of a pea pod, and the length is about 3 inches in length, and the weight is 3/4 of an ounce. This is what the baby looks like in the womb. So you can see that they're slightly getting more defined. The facial features are there, but they're starting to look more and more like a baby with each passing week, which is good. That's exactly what we want. First poop, your baby is producing meconium. This is black, sticky, and will accumulate in his or her bowels, and this is their first poop that you will see either in their diaper, or sometimes the baby will poop in the uterus or in the womb, and your healthcare provider will go from there. Fingerprints are forming. The little prints are forming on the baby's tiny little fingertips, and that is it for baby that week. So during this time period of the end of the first trimester, beginning of the second trimester, not a lot is really going on. A ton of stuff happened at the very beginning of the first trimester. Your body is just working in overdrive. The baby is forming into a little tiny human being from the size of, smaller than the size of a poppy seed, which is crazy to think of that baby started out as the size of a poppy seed, smaller than that actually, and then you give birth to this human. Mama. All right, so this is week 13 is the last week of the first trimester, and it's a glorious time, especially if you experience morning sickness. A lot of people, this is the time where their morning sickness is coming to an end. They notice that they're getting their energy back. They're noticing that they're feeling a little bit more like themselves. Let me fix the lighting. The clouds, we got a little bit of a snowstorm, and it's completely overcast, but the sun is doing weird things. Okay. Also, let's talk about sex. Many women also notice a distinct increase in their sex drive around this time. Let's just talk about sex for a minute, because people think of it as such a taboo topic, and I'm like, why? Why is it such a taboo topic, especially within the Christian community? It's one of those things that's like, no, we need to talk about it to normalize it, because if our kids think it's a taboo topic, then they're not going to want to come to us to talk about it, and they're going to go elsewhere, and I don't want anybody else giving my kids sex advice when that's my job. Anyways, off of my little soapbox. First trimester, sex drive is not there. Like, no, do not want sex. And you definitely need to communicate that with your partner. The first time I was pregnant, really, I didn't communicate that with Josh, and he knew I wasn't feeling well, so he never pushed for it. He never asked for it. It just was something that I was like, all right, well, when she's feeling in the mood, she'll let me know. And that's exactly what happened. Second trimester rolls around, you start feeling like yourself, you start eating more, your energy level is back, you're going back to the normal things that you were doing before you were pregnant within reason, if you're able to, and your sex drive comes back. And enjoy it, because second trimester sex is good. Feels real good. Making colostrum. You can't feel it yet, but your breast may have already started making colostrum. And this is the really, really rich yellow gold milk that comes out that your body produces that feeds your baby. It's the first feeding that your baby is going to have. And then after the colostrum comes the milk. And women have colostrum for a few days. I don't really know the time period for, like, the average time period of how long women will have colostrum and how long a baby will receive colostrum. I think Eleanor had it. My milk took a while to come in. 3 days, I think it took until my milk. Oh no, gosh. Longer. 4 or 5 days. Because we were in the hospital for 2 days. So yeah, it took a while for my milk to come in, and during that time she was getting the colostrum, which is so cool to see, because I had to pump in order to signal that my body needed to make milk instead of just colostrum. So I would see the colostrum in the bottle as I'm pumping, and the color, it's so cool. And then when you start pumping milk, or if you do pump, and you see the very distinct line of there's colostrum at the top and then there's milk at the bottom. It's very cool to see. And I have noticed that I am starting to leak a little bit. I started noticing around the end of the first trimester, so around this time period of the 12 to 13 weeks. And it's not like a constant leak like you would notice if you were actually breastfeeding, but if I squeeze them just a little bit, just to see if it is there, I see it. So cramping, a little bit of cramping is normal early on in the pregnancy, and if you get scared, if it doesn't feel normal, if you have any questions, definitely call your healthcare provider. I didn't have any cramping at this point. Actually, I take that back. I did, it just wasn't constant like it was early on, like with the whole implantation and the first few weeks of pregnancy. It was just like very sporadic, like, oh, it kind of felt like growing pains a little bit. They weren't necessarily period cramps. It just was like a little twinge, like a little, oh, that's a little uncomfortable, but then it literally lasted, at least for me, for a second, and that was it. That is it for mama with week 13. See about week 14, because that is the start of the second trimester, and it is seriously my favorite trimester. Favorite trimester. The first trimester for this pregnancy, it was nice, but you don't have a bump. I just had a ton of bloat until about week 10, and that's when it was like, oh, she looks like she may be pregnant, but I'm not going to ask because who really knows at this point? But now there's definitely a bump, and I will show you before I forget. There is a bump. Like, there is, baby is there. So out of breath. All right, very last week. Let's go into it. The baby is the size of a lemon, and the length is roughly 3.5 inches, weighing 1.5 ounces. And this is the size of the baby this week, which is crazy to me because by this point I'm like, wow, that baby looks like an actual baby in the uterus. So thanks to brain impulses, the facial muscles are getting a workout as his or her tiny features form one expression after the other. Your baby also starts to make sucking and chewing movements, and if his thumb happens to be near his mouth, he may latch onto it. So by this point, the baby will start sucking on his or her thumb. So his body's growing faster than his head, which now sits upon a more distinct neck. So, though you can't feel his or her tiny punches yet, your little one's hands and feet are more flexible and active. For me, hold on. I'll wait until we get into the mom. All right, so mama this week. Some women start to show, like I said. I started showing a little earlier on, but that's because this is my second pregnancy. Literally just a year after I had Eleanor. So I started to show earlier. Some women experience bleeding gums at this point too. I didn't. My gums aren't sensitive at all. They were with Eleanor, and not this time around. So about half of pregnant women have swollen red tender gums that bleed when flossed or brushed. And this gum inflammation is partly caused by hormonal changes that make your gums more sensitive to the bacteria and the plaque. All right, and that is it for mom. Me at that week, this week, because I'm still week 14, I started to feel the baby move. We had a doctor's appointment Tuesday, and I had actually started to feel them towards the end of 13 weeks, but definitely for sure I knew it was the baby at week 14. I can feel the baby do little flips, little punches, and sometimes towards the end of the night, after I have a full day's worth of food in my belly and it's a little more pronounced, I can feel a hard spot either on one side or the other, and I know that is the baby, and I can just feel him or her move in there. I haven't been able to actually put my hand on my belly and feel a kick or a punch or anything like that, and neither has Josh. I'm expecting that to happen within the next few weeks, hopefully. Definitely before week 20. I think we both felt Eleanor move in my belly before week 20. But that is it for updates. Nothing else has been going on. Everything's been very healthy, very normal. We feel so incredibly blessed. I still can't believe it. Josh and I still can't believe it. It seems like yesterday I took a pregnancy test and we found out that we were having another little baby, and we are so excited. I have started to nest a little bit. It hit me hard a few weeks ago when I actually kind of redecorated my dining room area when my sister was here and she helped me, and that satisfied a little bit of the nesting that I had. Now I am starting to pull the gender neutral clothes that I had for Eleanor when she was a newborn and just going through and seeing what stuff I can try to salvage in terms of, do they have a blowout stain? Do they have a spit up stain? Can I try to clean that out? I have I want to say it's a felt snappa bar, and I'm going to try to use that on them. But if not, then I can't salvage them. It's totally okay. Josh is almost done with the nursery. He just has to mud, I think it's the last coat of mud, put the last coat of mud on the wall and then sand them down, and then should be it. We will be able to paint, and by we, I mean me, because Josh hates painting, and I really don't mind it. Like, to me, it's very therapeutic and very just relaxing, and it's such a small room that it's not going to take any time at all. So what we did with the nursery, our laundry room was huge. And all right, let's finish that thought. My memory card was full and I had to get rid of some stuff. So what we did, the laundry room was huge. Like, it was a little too big in my opinion. I know some women think that they would love to have a huge laundry room, and I do. However, it just ended up collecting stuff, and in my mind, the bigger the room, the more stuff you need. You feel like you need. And it just collected, it ended up being a storage room. So what we did was we divided the room in half, and the half that connects to our bedroom, because we have a door that can go into the laundry room, but it's going to go into the nursery now. And he just put up a wall. He built up a wall, and he's working on the last mudding and last sanding part, and then I can paint it, and then we're gonna have to go to IKEA and get a crib, get a dresser. I am debating on what kind of rocking chair or Canadian glider I want to get, because I have one that I love, but it's upstairs in Eleanor's room, and we still use it when we put her to bed or when we're out there playing with her. So I need to get another one. That's the only problem with having two under two, is everything that we would normally use that we had with Eleanor, she's still using. Totally okay though, not a problem. And then I can finish up the nursery, actually do it, and have stuff, and everything will be ready, and everything will be ready before the baby is here. With Eleanor, things were ready before she was here. It just wasn't everything, because we were in the middle of renovating a house, and we had my cousin and my dad here at the house working on stuff while we were in the hospital. It was just a lot. It was very stressful. So this time around, I'm like, I want everything done by like June or July. Probably June. I think July is kind of pretty close, because I'm expecting the baby to come earlier, because I didn't even make it to my due date with Eleanor. But yes, I need to bring down the Moses basket that we have, that I'm going to have in the room with us, because I don't want to co-sleep this time around. I co-slept with Eleanor, and everybody has an opinion on co-sleeping. Whatever. This time around, I don't want to co-sleep. I'm going to try my very best not to, I should say. But we'll see what happens. But that is it, you guys. That is it for this video. Again, like, it feels weird making these videos because everything is normal. There's like no major things going on. What I'm really excited about is to talk about the 20-week anatomy scan that we have in 6 weeks, because we go the week I turn 21 weeks. That should be interesting. There should be a lot of pictures. It's going to be a long time there, but I'm excited because we will be able to see the baby that entire time, and it'll be about an hour and a half to 2 hours, maybe 2.5, depending on how cooperative the baby is. But that is it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.